Hey everyone, thanks for listening in, and welcome to the DevOps and Atlassian webinar. Get comfortable, grab some coffee, and get to know how Atlassian can help you deliver fast and reliably with DevOps. So what do you see here? A chaotic kitchen perhaps? Too many chefs? A bunch of servers and waiting staff crowding to take out dishes? This is actually what it's like in the kitchen at 11 Madison Park, New York, a 3-Michelin-star restaurant and rated third best in the world. From the time you enter the restaurant, where you are greeted by the host, to the sous chef who manages line cooks, to the saucier chef who works on just sauces, and the variety of other professionals in the kitchen, all those different teams come together to collaborate and serve a perfect plate of food so that you can enjoy it and give feedback right away. Now you might wonder why I'm talking about food in a DevOps presentation. Well, there is a lot in common. Just as in a restaurant kitchen, in enterprise companies too, you have different groups of people coming together: software, operations, QA, IT, each with his or her own area of responsibility in shipping products to customers. The team at the restaurant iterate over successive versions of the dish, working together to combine their respective aspects in a way that brings harmony and beauty to the dish. Similarly, DevOps can be a recipe for success for these two very different teams, Dev and Ops, coming together to embrace a collaborative approach, to share feedback and experiment together with new techniques and new tools. So before I get hungry, let's talk about why we are really here today. During our webinar today, you will learn a little bit of the history behind Atlassian and how we got here today. Next, we'll address some of the bigger challenges facing the software industry and how DevOps addresses that solution. Moving on, you will then learn what steps you can take to adopt DevOps for your team and your organization. Finally, we'll spend time understanding how to do DevOps the Atlassian way. Expect to learn more about the need for a cultural shift and find the right tools with Atlassian and how you can get started. So let's begin, shall we? We believe behind every great human achievement there is a team. Atlassian's mission is to unleash the potential in every team. There are currently more than 2,500 Atlassians working in offices in Sydney, San Francisco, Austin, New York, Amsterdam, Gdansk, Manila, and Tokyo to develop, support, and market our products. Atlassian has grown quite a customer franchise over time. There are more than 68,000 customers innovating in every industry, empowering their teams to do incredible things. Out of 68,000 customers, over 80% are teams at Fortune 100 companies. Here are some interesting facts. Among those customers that trust Atlassian with their business, they include 7 of the top 10 largest banks in the world. More than 250 out of the Fortune 500 companies are Atlassian customers. So now let's move on to take a look at the state of software today and some of the challenges the industry is facing. 6 years ago, in Wall Street Journal, investor Marc Andreessen stated software is eating the world, an iconic statement on how software was disrupting every traditional industry at that time. These days, the idea that every company is a software company is a cliché. No matter your industry, you're expected to be reimagining your business to make sure you're not the next local taxi company or hotel chain caught completely off guard by your equivalent of Uber or Airbnb. Today, software is programming the world according to Andreessen. Every software has turned into a service. It's an always on, always up, always available world. There are more opportunities for software to transform everything, from homes to businesses to cars. For example, you would probably not consider these businesses software first, but they're increasingly just that, using software to distinguish themselves in competitive markets. New high-end electric cars are among the most sophisticated machines on the planet, containing 10 million or more lines of code. Ovens and coffee machines in Starbucks are updated over the internet, so that when a new food product is introduced to the store, it will instantly be heated to the right temperature in every location, with no learning curve. Inevitably, with software development moving so quickly and customers demanding constant improvements, It's no wonder we've also seen changes to the way software teams work. You see the greatest impact of this in version control and software development methodologies. In fact, it requires a huge change in mindset to build software that's less buggy, that actually fulfills the requirements of end users, and is released every 6 weeks versus once a year. Speaking of changes, in the last 10 years we've seen Agile and Git adoption skyrocket. In Agile, all roles on a development team come together to prioritize, scope, and support one another. And with Git, branching and merging has never been so easy. Decentralized version control systems are enabling teams to move faster than ever with higher quality. According to the 2016 State of Software report by Atlassian, 77% of teams reported using agile methodologies, and 78% have moved to a distributed version control system like Git. This pattern is not just seen in small software teams, but across large enterprise teams as well. I'm sure most of you are also practicing these processes in various capacities. And while Agile and Git are great and have been around for a while, what lies ahead for software development, and is there an opportunity to improve? Have you migrated to Agile and Git and are still dealing with these situations? How many of you have been here before? Maybe you've noticed releases slipping. Has there been friction between dev and ops teams? Do you feel incident response times often cross SLAs? Has infrastructure often been on fire in your teams? If you can answer yes to any of these questions, you'll realize that while Agile and Git are great, they don't prevent silos and walls of confusion from still forming. Traditional development and operations teams tend to work in silos, limiting the amount of inter-team communication until software is released. Such processes don't always encourage software teams to communicate with people outside of their software bubble. And it still doesn't prevent ops teams from being woken at 2 a.m. to work on a problem they have no context about. So while Agile and Git are good prerequisites to a culture for DevOps, there's a lot more to building a culture that allows for cross-functional teams to maximize efficiency, collaborate, and innovate. Growing software enterprises must become more collaborative, else they will cease to exist.